I think the Broncos are definitely misunderstood right now because if you look at their schedule, they have 3 losses on the season, they have 4 wins. All 3 of their losses were by 1 score. They have a lot to work on, but coming into the season, nobody expected much out of the Broncos. You go back to the game against the Raiders, which was Sunday, October 6th. Prior to that, Vegas had them with the odds of having the 4th overall pick, which means they would have been the 4th worst team, obviously, in football. Denver defensively is as good as anyone in football right now, and when you have an elite level defense, you can beat anyone. The Saints are not great. They were missing their 2 top receivers. They were missing their starting quarterback. But the bottom line is that the Broncos completely shut them out. They ended up scoring a touchdown defensively. The Saints scored a touchdown late in this 4th quarter with their 3rd stringer, Jake Haener. So it goes to show that the Saints scored as many touchdowns offensively as the Denver defense did. They almost had another touchdown by Cody Barton. But of course, there was an offsides penalty against a defensive tackle. If you look at the losses that this team's had against the Chargers, which everyone likes to point out, oh, well, how did they look last week? You beat the Saints. How'd you look against the Chargers? Unfortunately, they just weren't prepared in that game. But to be down 23-0 and to come back in the 4th quarter to make it a 1-possession game, I mean, yeah, that's a loss, but I'm not really too concerned with that, right? Same thing with the Steelers game, the Seahawks game. They all come down to a couple of different plays. Surtain gets injured, of course, in that game. If Surtain ends up playing the full game against the Chargers, maybe they win that, who knows, right? But I like what I'm seeing out of Bo Nix. He just gets better and better. You can see as well what the Broncos are capable of when they can run the football. Nix, he was only asked to throw the ball 26 times for 164 yards. And what happened? They end up scoring a ton of points because Javonte Williams goes 14 of 88. Nix himself, 10 for 75. Jaleel McLaughlin, 4 for 35. Audric Estime, unfortunately, did lose a fumble, but he went 5 for 29, which is very good efficiency. 13-yard run. McLaughlin, 21-yard run. Nix, 32-yard run. And Williams, 20-yard run. So literally every single Broncos player outside of Jarrett Stidham that touched the ball on the ground had at least a 13-yard run. That's just great efficiency. That's how you win football games. It's going to open up the offense. I will say this, though. I thought personally in this game that Nix missed a lot of throws. He definitely has to work on his footwork. He's done a lot of good. He's done a lot of bad. He's a rookie, so it's expected. But I do think that Denver needs more weapons on the outside. They've got Troy Franklin, Devon Bailey, a couple of young guys, Cortland Sutton. He's more of a wide receiver too. I think he'd be a great wide receiver too if the Broncos can go out there in the draft and end up bringing someone in. Maybe they do it in free agency or a trade. We'll have to wait and see. Lil Jordan Humphrey's okay, right? Marvin Mims Jr. They've got a lot of young players, but they need a game changer. And that's why I'm going to be talking all season about Travis Hunter, because he already wants to stay in Colorado and play for the Broncos. So if this team can move up and get him, it's going to cost a lot. But I think he could be the difference next season between the Broncos being a good team and a great team. Because right now, I think Denver's a good team. Any team that has an elite defense has a chance to win every single game. The Jets last season were garbage. They had Zach Wilson, who was the worst quarterback in football. They end up winning 7 games. And Bo Nix is certainly a much better player than Zach Wilson. And that's why we've seen the Broncos be in every single game. They just haven't been able to execute. But coming up, the Panthers is a game that you've got to win. You're at home against a team that is going to be selling off at the November trade deadline. We'll wait and see if they have their players in that one. You got to win that, go to 5-3, and then at Baltimore, at Kansas City versus Atlanta. We're going to see very shortly here who the Broncos really are, because no matter what, nobody's ever going to be completely satisfied. 4-3, I'm satisfied with that. Now, 3 straight wins, losing to a divisional rival. Yeah, it kind of hurt a little bit, but you get back on track with a blowout 23-point win over the Saints, beat the Panthers, go to 5-3, and all of a sudden you get into a situation where you just have to split the Chiefs and the Ravens, preferably beat the Chiefs just because I hate them and also it's a divisional rival. But yeah, if you get one of those two, you're happy. And then Cleveland, Vegas, Atlanta, I think the Broncos can win all 3 of those games. The only one that I'm slightly even concerned with would be the Atlanta Falcons, but that's a home game. Like Cleveland at home, definitely not concerned with that. And then Las Vegas, they're done. Like the Raiders are absolutely cooked. Bye week, Colts, Chargers, Bengals. The Bengals might be completely out of the playoff race to that point, and then Kansas City. We'll wait and see. But I mean, the Broncos legitimately, guys, I think they go 10-7. I think they're legit. That's why I made this channel, and I've been high on them for a long time now. Ever since I saw Bo Nix play at Oregon, I love the addition to this team because he gets rid of it quickly. He doesn't hold on to the ball. He's got that athleticism. The thing with Nix, though, like I said, just in the pocket, being able to move his feet the right way and get the ball, just go through his progressions. You can tell that there's a lot of work to do, but Sean Payton is the best quarterback to have when you have a young quarterback that's trying to figure out his way in the NFL. And Nix has made so many big plays this entire year. We saw in the fourth quarter what he was able to do against the Chargers, the Raiders game, going out there and scoring 3 touchdowns, right? The Jets game, second half, able to get his offense down the field to score, to do just enough. Tampa Bay was awesome. Pittsburgh, I didn't think played great. In Seattle as well. I mean, a really tough first game. So we just have to be patient. Nobody's expecting the Broncos to be an elite team this year, but I do think they're good. I do think they're getting better and better. And I certainly do think that they will make the wild card, man. The AFC is just, it's so discombobulated right now to the point where Denver, they just stand out, right? Like, we go and we just look at these teams, right? Like who in the AFC do we think are better than the Broncos right now? The Ravens, the Bills. Let me scroll down. Still scrolling. Texans, I'd say, are better. And the Chiefs, too. I forgot about the Chiefs. But it just goes to show that there's not many teams better in the conference than the Broncos right now. And this is a young team, young defense. Like I said, only 1 first-round pick on it in Surtain, who didn't even play in this game, who missed basically the entire game against the Chargers. Offensively, the Broncos, they're going to become much better if they can run the football. Because we talk about Bo Nix, now he hasn't exactly been amazing, and he's a rookie too. We're judging him off of rookie standards. But I think what it comes down to is that the Broncos just have not been able to run the football. If you look at their leading rusher, against Seattle, it was Nix. Against Pittsburgh, it was Nix. Against Tampa Bay, it was Bidet with 70. Williams was 77 against the Jets. Williams was 61 against the Raiders. Nix had 61 against the Chargers, and then Williams had 88 against the Saints. I mean, Nix had 3 of these 7 games they played, their quarterback led them in rushing. And they still have not had a 100-yard rushing game, right? So we go and we look at a team like the Ravens. Well, the Ravens is not. The Ravens are an anomaly. That's a bad example. But we'll look at the Chiefs. Not one game this season as Patrick Mahomes led them in rushing. So Pacheco with 45 against Baltimore, Pacheco with 90 against Cincinnati, Steele with 72 against Atlanta, Hunt with 69 against the Chargers, and then Hunt had 102 against the Saints. So just a lot more balance, a lot more consistency. That's what the Broncos need if they want to take it to the next level. Because if you can run the football, teams are forced to stack the box, and that opens up the passing game because you have less guys obviously in coverage that can make plays, and then you can get Nix on the move. But when you can't run the football, teams aren't even worried about that. It's not a threat, and they're expecting pass. And that's when the Broncos are in serious danger because they just don't have the receivers to be able to beat that right now. And then Nix is still developing as a passer. Right, he's not raw. He's not a developmental quarterback. He came in with the most college starts in the history of college football, but he still is working on being a pocket passer. And the Broncos, that's the essence, the importance of their defense and running the football. Right, forcing takeaways, getting after the quarterback. This defense is legit. Any single game the Broncos can win. Can they run the football? Can they protect Bo Nix? Can Nix make those throws? Right, not just the easy ones, the layups, but can he throw it into tight windows? Can he, of course, make guys miss and pick up yards with his first down? I mean, he's given up a season-high 26 points. That's a really good, man. That's really, really good. I mean, that's elite-level territory. Like, what about the Vikings? See, the Vikings have given up 29. They've also given up 17 twice. So it goes to show that the Vikings are probably the one defense comparable to the Broncos right now, and they've given up 29 in a shootout game against the Packers.